I am Heroes of the Greeks and thank you for joining me here today on how to build an economy in the 1212 80 mod campaign for for Attila. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to take a look at two groups of the tree. Basically, you got two factions that we're going to play. At least take a look at. Those are both for my convinced. I think I have mostly gotten a successful setup in getting a good economy. To show you guys my economy right now and what it is in the normal tax rate and also having enough money. The thing is, basically the thing in the campaign is trying to sustain yourself. Right now it's possible with only our overall taxes. So these are taxes that we gain overall, and we have a total of, if I'm correct, we have a total of 10 provinces and we are making 20,000 a turn from taxes. This is only from all the provinces combined, so there's nothing really else that helps with that. So that is one thing you should know when you're taking up the setup. I already have some other things that really help me out with my economy, but that are the things that mostly don't really affect the building or um, yeah, basically the buildings of the entire game, because every faction has more or less a different setup. I know there's a little bit of differences between the Western factions and the Eastern faction, because I've played Hungary and Scotland. And I know that Scotland has a little bit of a different setup in their gameplay, in their faction building setup than the Hungarians. Today we'll also go take a look on that, because I got a different setup up with the Hungarians, but I also make enough money in that one to sustain myself without having trade or anything else. So right now we have low taxes because I have more than enough other income to sustain myself without it, so that's good. It helps out with the public order. Um, Otherwise we just have mostly also good public order in all the provinces that we control. And except from here, but mostly you can deal with that with an extra upgrade. But we're also going to do here, of course, like the military or the castle will help out with that over time. This is not saying that this is like the best setups it can do, but for me over time it worked. And yeah, these are the setups I've been using overall. That's the thing what you should do is try to get at least in some of the settlements surrounding a few is get at least one of these. The corruption values, the corruption's been decreased. It also helps out with public order. I think trying to go for the sheep farm is basically possibly a better setups, because they give you the most money, not the most food, but overall I think they're a good fit for any Western European faction. Um, Doing a forge mill is also quite useful because it gives you an industry boost because of industry boost, and also gives you an extra bonus when you are able to trade. You will get trade goods from it. If you go towards here in Dublin, like this is more a port city, we're able to get food from the dock, so you don't actually need to build up um, an extra food building. Although we are doing that here to get that extra sanitation and also Christianity into this city, as well as helps out with the overall yeah, public order. Then we also have a really nice building that we possibly really want to get able in most of the provinces that you own, and also trying to put them in the middle provinces, because I think, I'm not too sure if they if there's also with island settlements, but in theory they should be pushing out an adjacent provinces plus trade to all the provinces surrounding them. This one, it also gives you an extra 6 for your sanitation as well, plus a 6% research bonus. So basically this one is injecting this one, should possibly be this one and this one. I'm not totally correct on that because I'm not sure if it only is also providing it overseas, so I'm not sure on that one. But saying that, we really have more or less have fixed this problem by building one of these ones in Nottingham over here, but Nottingham is providing sanitation towards Kerry, Narvon, York, as well as not Bristol, as well as Colchester. And in Colchester we also have built up one of these, but helping out to put out against again to Nottingham and to London. And in London we have another one of these that helps out with the corruption value. So basically it helps overall out with putting out enough sanitation. Because sanitation is going to be useful. Although one thing to note is that sanitation does not help with preventing diseases when you have diseases in another province or your ally does it. So basically saying, right now you see that sanitation is more than enough in this in Colchester, right? But when like a faction that you are training with has a disease in their settlement, there is a good chance that you will be infected with that disease. And this disease can even spread from Colchester to London. Sanitation only prevents diseases from happening. And as you can see, with the overall bonus that we control in all these provinces together, we got a total of 19 sanitation in Colchester. Even with these really, a total of 19 sanitation, and we have 12 scholar, so we still have 7 sanitation left. It means we could still upgrade this one to a higher level. Sanitation also comes from cities. That is something that they actually changed up. Um, that is not with the normal game, but the normal game is so that you actually increase your sanitation with your main cities. So that's one thing to note. And also one of those things. So sanitation is mostly well managed if you place these things in the correct setup. Also, getting a good food building as well, you can get in with the Scotch. I don't think you get them with Hungary. We're going to check that out in a second while we're at them. So these are the Western faction, the Eastern factions. I have to check out the Spaniards to see if they are having some different buildings. If that is the case, I will make a separate video for them, but that is for a later date. So yeah, this is the setup of this, like this pretty enlarged settlement. Overall, it has not enough food. It also has quite a lot of sanitation, and yeah, it basically makes quite a lot of money, as you can see. Although, yeah, it's actually making quite a lot of money even with the overall tax rate. So from all the local income, it is making like a total of 700. It even is increased, as you can see. It makes that much, but some reason is increasing it. I'm not sure whether it is possibly because of the tax rate. As you can see, that 1% tax rate is increasing, is coming above the corruption and immigration. Or the immigration actually is getting that little bit of extra for income, but that 1% is not too much, as you can see. So that's one thing. Are there any other things I should note? Oh yeah, building these ones up is most of the times quite an efficient produce. So basically this is setups that I use for most of my provinces, and I can sustain quite a lot, as you can see. Like I got a total in army income. Actually expenditures total for me is actually 70,000, mains being 2,000, so 17, which means that wipe out all this trade and such, we would make enough money only from taxes. Like 4,000 a turn, but it's still more than enough to sustain your economy and still build up armies and be able to construct new buildings over time. Wait a second. Now I'm going to show a few of the setups that I've been using for this province. This one I just captured, so it's not really most of my own setup, but actually they did it quite well. Although I placed all my own chapel, Catholic chapel. Also, again, of course, one of these, but it's always useful of getting, and this just provides a little bit extra public order as well. So overall, this is quite a nice building. And like also, if you have these resource building, 9 out of 10 you should just build them because they are really just overall getting that little bit extra food sometimes, or they give you a public order bonus, or they give you a resource bonus, of course, but at the end you can use for trade. One small thing you should also know to get quite a lot of income extra, just a note, because we're also going to take a look, of course, what you can also do to increase your own money is just because of trade. Also, one plus side, if you're like a landlocked faction in the beginning, it is quite useful of having not having sea trade in the beginning, because you will be able to get quite a lot of money if you have a lot of trade resources by signing trade to getting and extracting money for that. I did the same thing with Scotland and Hungary. The moment I was able to acquire a trade port, I was able to extract like 20,000 total of only signing trade deals. So that is also quite a lot of income that you get just in one go. Also, one thing you can also do is marry off your daughters or subjects. The AI is quite most of the times willing to increase that amount of money, and it seems to be helping out quite a lot. I was able to gain the alliance or the client stateship over time of marrying quite a lot of the Holy Roman Empire's family, and as you can see we got total diplomatic marriage bonus of 184, but it's quite a lot. And over time I was able to finally get the vassalage of the Holy Roman Empire by paying them a little, actually getting money out of the trade deal. And I was also, my power at that time was also more than them. So they were accepting clientship, what I think is still a bit too easy, I must admit, because at some point I also was able to do this with Hungary, but I didn't do it because of gameplay similarities in the campaign playing what I'm doing as well. So if you want to check that out, link to that will be in the end of the video if you are curious to see my Scotland and Hungary campaign. And of course that will be a little bit of a spoiler, but no, don't worry, I'm going to start off a Latin Empire campaign in the upcoming up to week. Possibly, I'm not sure when that will happen, but possibly the end of the week of the upcoming week, there will be a Latin Empire video out, or maybe earlier, depends on how how quick the Scotland campaign and Hungary campaign are running out. So that's a bit on that, but side note, yeah, I think that is all the things that I did with the setups in the in the Scotland campaign, how to get a good amount of money. So let's now, what I said we were going to do, switch to all the province so you can take a look on how I've built it up. Over here we got, this is London, large city, Catholic Abbey, Gallows, Monroe Estate, Blacksmith Guilds, and training grounds. Training grounds is just for overall recruitment. That is just for your own goods. That's something that you have to decide on your own if you want to build it and where. Over here we got Nottingham, large city, Gallows. We farm for food because we don't really have an extra building to increase that. We got salt mine, and we got the clinic, and still an extra slot when we have enough growth. Over here we got York. Oh, sorry, Bristol, York. Oh, Jesus. Well, now let's then go to just do it that way then. Let's go to York. York, we got a stronghold, also being increased. We got a Yar hut, as a sheep farm in the last stage. Merchant quarters, but actually quite good for increasing your overall trade value, although it will decrease your state religion influence, but over time, of course, if you counteract that with like this, it will not matter too much, especially if you are in territories that are not really conflicting in religion. I suppose in the Middle East you will be having a little bit more trouble with that, but that are for those. I'm also thinking about bringing out for the Sultanate factions out a video as well, but it will be later stage on the campaign. And I think I will try and do that with an outer campaign than the Ayyubids, because the Ayyubids are already quite built up, and I think they might not be the greatest starting position to do that. I think starting out with one region faction is possibly nicest, because you can like really build up yourself and see what happens over time and see what works the best for you, instead of having to repair actually the mistakes that sometimes the AI makes or what already has been set up. But that's for that. This is York. Here we got Edinburgh, Walled City, Gallows, Sheep Farm, Military Order. Again, all up your own preference what you want to build in these ones, but these are just buildings I use for my overall campaign. Here we got the Forge Mill, we got Jousting List, and over here we got actually an extra building that we can build up at some point if I want to. We got again Large City, Sheep Farm, City Gatehouse to help out with public order. Over here we got a Noble Demi that again will become a Moral Estate. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Manoro Estate. And you got again a clinic. Then we go towards Dublin. Dublin has essential domain, but it's actually a sort of a church asked building what the abbot lives in. You can see the abbot is the father of the community, spiritual speaking and such, so it will also provide you with a little bit extra Christianity influence. Over here we got fishing docks and a Catholic priority, forge mill, clinic and town barracks. There's only one small change up to with the Hungarians because they just have a little bit different thing that the Scottish don't have. It's also a quite useful building, but the Scottish just don't have. But it's handy, I suppose. Yeah, that is stronghold, distillery guild, but gives you quite a lot of money and public order, but a really high scorer debuff. It will also increase your agricultural wealth by 100%, but unfortunately I don't have an agricultural build that will increase by that. I would say that the 100% is not worth changing it up towards a wheat farm, because the wheat farm doesn't provide as much money as this one is doing at the highest rate. So most of the time I don't do that. I tested it out in the Hungarian campaign, so we'll take a look at that, how much that affects it. We also got a clinic again and a Catholic priority for Christianity, as well as that wine produce. Then we go to the last settlement that I just conquered, is so not mostly my own setup, but overall it works, except these one two I built up myself. Got a large city, fishing docks, a winery, a physician, city gatehouse and a Catholic chapel. So that is my setup for the Kingdom of Scotland and how I build up my own nation. So just try and get I suppose these the clinic and the the corruption one, decreasements in around provinces that are mostly centralized. Like this one is sort of centralized in 2 provinces. This one is actually connecting quite a lot. So if you do it that way, you'll be able to basically spread the influence of the buildings mostly in the most effective ways. That's one advice I should give you. And yeah, just try and build up over your buildings how you want, of course, as well. But this is just my idea how to get a good economy. And get it is at the normal tax rate. And of course, all the other things that you can do to increase it, you don't actually need to do that and still make a 30,000 a turn. And if you for the fun want to take a look at how much I gain per turn after got the high tax rate on, we have a total of 50,000 a turn, but there's no need for that. So I will see you all in the Hungary. Here we are with the Hungarians. The Hungarians have, as you can see, a little bit less money. We still will have enough money to sustain ourselves, although it is not too much. I must admit that, but that's also because the Hungarians have a little bit of different setup in their religion, what means you also need to counteract it a little bit more. I also have made a mistake, that is just overall a mistake by pissing off the Pope. That is just mostly me, and I had to counteract that with building more public order buildings. But I still make enough money overall to be able to sustain myself, although it is like 1,000, not much. As you can see, 1,000 about trade and other things, like a little bit of 1,000. So that's decent. As you can see, this is what we're building. The only bit of building that these guys actually have in comparison to the Scots is the bakery, but I think is a really nice building, and it's possibly better than the distillery that I think it replaces the bakery. So what the bakery basically does, it gives you at the highest level 6 sanitation, 6 public order, and it's 750 wealth from industry. What also adds is a 200% wealth increasement from agricultural buildings. It means that this wheat farm, instead of providing us with 150, it will provide us with like Jesus. I'm just going to show you guys it. Is this from agriculture? We got in total 160, so, and also 330% increasement, and another 330% increasement in the total fertility bonus. So that 200 became 800, so that's quite a lot of increasement. But that's now why I'm going to say it is not possibly worth doing that, because you make more money of getting a sheep farm. Where is it? Where's the sheep farm? making a sheep farm. As you can see, they provide more, like around 700 more money. But what the increasement, well, does help with this one possibly. The only help with that is that it provides more food. If you don't really have any more spots, converting this goat farm to a wheat farm is possibly worth it to be able to still upgrade this to a stronghold. If you want to upgrade your main buildings. So that's possibly the only possibilities to it, and this one will help out also putting out a sanitation and public order, but also will help out providing a little bit more money what it is doing instead. So this one is basically countering the fact that this one doesn't make any money. So it's a bit sideways setup, and also provide like a little bit of an extra 700 cash. Yeah, basically this is what I've been doing in the Hungary campaign. I'm not going to show you everything, so this one still stays a bit of a secret. But yeah, this basically only set up with the Easterns and Eastern Europeans and the Western ones. I'm not sure if the Byzantines have different buildings. If that is the case, I possibly will add them in with the Ayyubids or the Muslim factions. So I hope you find this video a bit helpful if you have difficulties with building up your provinces. And hopefully it helps you out with building your province a bit more effective, or maybe it didn't, you found it totally not useful. If you yourself have some good ideas of building up your economy, let me know in the comments below. I'm always interested to know if you have your own ideas, of course, and if you have any ideas to better up your overall economy. So let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it. If you think I deserve a like, please leave a like. And if you want to see more medieval 1212 80, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date. And again, thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. This was Heroes of the Quick with the how to set up building or an economy in medieval 1212 80 mod. Link to the description below if you want to check out the mod for yourself. Bye bye.